Hello, neurodivergent TikTok. I want to talk to you about something I learned in my last therapy session. It's called conditioned toxic hyperindependence. That's a lot of words, but bear with me. Let's start with the first one, hyperindependence. That's when things that would normally be shared with other people aren't. Closed off, you don't talk with other people about things, you don't share your interests, you end up becoming a workaholic and you handle all your responsibilities by yourself to an extreme degree. You have a lot of trouble asking for help, a lot of trouble connecting with people, a lot of trouble making new friends, maybe even a hard time talking to people. Toxic hyperindependence just means that this hyperindependence that you're experiencing is damaging your life in some way. It means you're lonely to the extent of physical or emotional pain. It means that you can't find people to share important parts of your life with. It means that your friend and family connections start to grow distant and don't feel as intimate as they are before. It means that you start irrationally thinking that no one wants to have anything to do with you just because you can't connect with these people. And it leads to a deep and sometimes painful isolation. Finally, let's talk about the last word, conditioned. This means that your hyperindependence was in some way taught to you as the right behavior. It's a trauma response, and it could be caused by a lot of different things. It could be caused by your parents never validating your interests. It can be caused by your friends very often belittling your interests. It can be caused by just not having anyone to share the things you care about with. It can be caused by malicious trauma, by negligent parents, or by people who have been abusive in the past. But it could just as easily be caused by numerous tiny rejections. Numerous times of the people you care about just not caring about the things you do. Choosing to shut you out rather than deal with the slight discomfort of maybe experiencing something that they're not super into. Not meeting you halfway when it just comes to interests. People with ADHD, autism, anxiety, depression can sometimes experience rejection-sensitive dysphoria. That's when small rejections end up causing major psychological problems. Conditioned toxic hyperindependence happens when rejection-sensitive dysphoria ends up getting layered on top of itself over and over again. To the people causing these tiny traumas, it doesn't seem like a big deal. You ask them, hey, do you want to watch this show with me or play this game with me? And they say, no, I'm not into that, I'm going to do my own thing. But when that happens enough, eventually you start feeling like your interests don't matter to anyone. That's when you start having these problems. You start isolating yourself from people. You start shutting yourself off. That's because you've learned that attempting to connect with people usually ends up in rejection. And rejection hurts, so you don't try it anymore. But then that causes complication. It makes it so that the interests you used to have don't produce dopamine anymore. It makes it so that you don't particularly know what your own interests are. And it makes it so that you self-isolate yourself. It's a big tangled knot, and it's hard to get out of.